Gates open at Arapahoe Park. After 37 years of chasing, the Triple Crown morphed from old TV footage to reality, witnessing horse racing history through American Pharoah. Following the Triple Crown, we'll take a look back at how thoroughbred racing got its start and trace the ancestry of the breed to Arabians. Before presenting this ancient and majestic breed, we revisit June 6, 2015 and show you what it was like to be at Arapahoe Park when American Pharoah joined the exclusive list of Triple Crown immortality. American Pharoah came into the Belmont home stretch with thousands of Colorado horse racing fans cheering him on.
American Pharoah has opened up a two-length lead as they come to the top of the stretch, and Frosted has moved up into second, and they're into the stretch, and American Pharoah makes his run for glory as they come into the final furlong. Frosted is second with 1/8 of a mile to go. American Pharoah's got a two-length lead. Frosted is all out at the 16th pole, and here it is. The 37-year wait is over. American Pharoah is finally the one. American Pharoah has won the Triple Crown.
Welcome to a behind-the-scenes look of horse racing. I'm Jonathan Horowitz, the announcer at Arapahoe Park. There are three different and distinctive breeds of horses that race at Arapahoe Park. The thoroughbreds that you see in the Triple Crown and the Breeders' Cup, the quarter horses that are horse racing's equivalent of drag races, and Arabians. Arabians take the spotlight in stakes races during the next 2 weekends at Arapahoe Park, and this episode of Gates Open at Arapahoe Park will profile the ancient and majestic breed. Arabians became prolific in the Arabian Peninsula at around the 7th century. Arabian horses, which tend to have a smaller profile, have been used and been very popular in many versatile ways. Pleasure horses, war horses, show horses, and race horses. Legend has it that Alexander the Great, Napoleon, and George Washington rode Arabians. In terms of racing, Arabians are very dynamic. They can compete in endurance races that are 100 miles long and last 24 hours, such as the Tevis Cup in California. At Arapahoe Park, Arabian races range in distances from sprints of about 3/4 of a mile to the classic distance of 1.25 miles, the same distance as the Kentucky Derby. Arapahoe Park's racing Arabians are annually recognized as some of the best in the United States with Darley Awards given to the country's top Arabian horses and horsemen. 2 of the last 4 Arabian Horses of the Year raced at Arapahoe Park during their championship campaigns. 2011 Horse of the Year TM Fred Texas, who won his debut at Arapahoe in 2010 and 2 stakes races in Colorado in 2011, even went on to Dubai to capture the $250,000 Dubai Kahela Classic in 2012, one of the richest Arabian races in the world. 2013 Horse of the Year, So Big Is Better, won the first ever Arabian race held on the Breeders' Cup card at Santa Anita in Southern California. Later in the show will be a look at some of the best Arabian performances in recent years in Colorado, including 2 stakes wins in 2 days at Arapahoe Park last year by Miss Dixie, the first horse of any breed to accomplish such a feat at the track. Arapahoe Park will host 4 graded stakes races for Arabians this season, the Cobra Distaff Sprint and Cobra Sprint over the next 2 weekends, and the Cobra Distaff and Cobra Classic at longer distances during the closing weekend of the meet. Cobra stands for Colorado Owners and Breeders of Racing Arabians, the gatekeepers of Arabian racing in the state. Arapahoe Park also hosts 3 races as part of the WAFBA Stud Farm Cup Series that takes place in 11 countries. The His Highness Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan Global Arabian Horse Flat Racing Festival, based in Abu Dhabi, organizes the WAFBA Stud Farm Cup and other Arabian racing series around the world that have increased the profile of this majestic breed. What else distinguishes Arabians is that the other breeds of racehorses at Arapahoe Park ultimately trace their ancestry to the Arabian. All thoroughbreds are descended from the same 3 forefathers, the Darley Arabian, the Godolphin Barb, and the Byerly Turk, who were imported to England in the late 17th and early 18th century. all thoroughbreds, from Secretariat to Seattle Slew to California Chrome to American Pharoah, can trace their lineage within the last 350 years to the same three horses. American quarter horses originated when thoroughbreds bred with Native American horses once the thoroughbred breed took off and arrived on colonial shores. So, when you see Arabians compete at Arapahoe Park, you're watching the breed that really started it all for horse racing in the United States. Gates Open at Arapahoe Park is presented by the His Highness Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan Global Arabian Horse Flat Racing Festival. On the edge of glory in the Watha Stud Farm Cup and Breezal LZP, with Carlo Lopez looking over the shoulder for the competition that hasn't emerged yet. With races in 11 countries, the Watha Stud Farm Cup will be held at Arapahoe Park on May 24th, July 5th, and August 9th. Behind the growth of horse racing in Colorado, the Colorado Horse Racing Association, the Colorado Thoroughbred Breeders Association, the Rocky Mountain Quarter Horse Association, Colorado Owners and Breeders of Racing Arabians, Cantor, Colorado, finding new homes for retired racehorses. The best Arabians in the United States have competed at Arapahoe Park in recent years, and let's take a look back at some of the most memorable performances. Meet Miss Dixie. The gray Arabian mare seems as docile as can be in her barn. But put her on the racetrack, and Dixie dominates.
You're getting your game face on.
You can pet her in her stall, but don't even think about passing her on the track.
And it's Miss Dixie who now takes the lead from DeJet Sun. Cobra Distaff winner yesterday. How much does she have left in the tank? DeJet Sun chasing her all the way to the wire, but the class of Miss Dixie will prevail. 2 stakes wins in 2 days. The Cobra Distaff yesterday, the Cobra Classic today for Miss Dixie.
It's night and day. I mean, you can see her now. She's calm, relaxed. She kind of has her little territory, and she knows it. At the track, she's just all game but 2-8.
Miss Dixie is continuing the tradition of great Arabians to race at Arapahoe Park. TM Fred Texas won the Darley Award for Horse of the Year in America in 2011.
TM Fred Texas, the best Arabian in the country, is drawing off, going on to his 4th stakes win in a row. TM Fred Texas wins the Mile Maker Classic.
And then he represented Arapahoe Park, Colorado, and the USA in one of the richest Arabian races in the world at Meydan in the United Arab Emirates.
Gates Open, they're racing in the Dubai Kahela Classic, and Akbar Latour tackled by Frivolous. Daraya made a line of 3. Versak's a length away, then El Mouja has. Fred Texas looming up on the outside from Nishan, and then Timid El Mels, but Fred Texas straight up. At the 250 metres mark, Fred Texas took the lead from Versak. Timid El Mels, Seraphim de Payon, Fred Texas in front. He's more than a length clear. Seraphim de Payon is trying to run him down, but Fred Texas in front. He's holding Seraphim de Payon, and the Arabian Horse of the Year from the USA in 2011 wins the Dubai Kahela Classic 2012. Fred Texas beats Seraphim de Payon and Timid El Mels.
In 2013, So Big Is Better won at Arapahoe Park during his Horse of the Year campaign.
So Big Is Better is putting on a clinic and going on to a powerful victory in the Crow Valley Ranch Classic. It is So Big Is Better, the victor.
And the Horse of the Year, So Big Is Better.
On the track, Arabians cruise, lower speeds than other breeds, but more smoothly for longer distances. And another quality attracts Arabians to champion trainer Scott Powell.
Arabians are smarter. I mean, I think they're smarter. I think you have to work with Arabians a little more. You just have to be in tune with them.
With all the success Arabians have had in recent years at Arapahoe Park, who are some of the future stars?
And they're away in our Arabian World Championship.
Perhaps Esme Cielo, the winner of 2 races in this year's His Highness Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan Global Arabian Horse Flat Racing Festival in 1 week in Kentucky and Colorado.
It is Esme Cielo.
Chasing Esme Cielo's shadow, and Esme Cielo has pulverized the field in the Wathba Stud Farm Cup. A dominant display over R.B. Rich.
Or the young, full of potential Paddy's Day for Scott Powell.
We want to go to Dubai. We want to try to get to the Kahale Classic, and that's definitely the goal, and I think it could happen.
But Queen Dixie may not be ready to relinquish her crown just yet. She got her 2015 campaign at Arapahoe Park off to a sensational start as she attempts to become the first horse since the Darley Awards began in 1987 to be recognized as a champion in 4 consecutive years.
Racing to the final furlong, and it's Miss Dixie strutting her stuff. Poetry in motion for Miss Dixie. Inside the final furlong, she's racing away in a class by herself. One of them has lost the rider at the rear of the field. All eyes on Miss Dixie coming to the line, much the best.
We were debating if we were going to bring her back this year, but she's got more run in her. And so the goal is to finish this year, and probably next year we'll start breeding her. You know, I mean, there's a slight chance we could bring her back, but she's just got to start making babies. She's too valuable, you know, to not.
So much promise in Arapahoe Park stable area for the future stars of Arabian Racing. Live horse racing at Arapahoe Park takes place from May 22nd to August 16th on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays starting at 1 p.m.
Gates open, the Miles Massey Handicap is underway.
Keep up with the latest online at myhighracing.com, on Facebook at facebook.com/Arapahoe Racing, and on Twitter at JJ Horowitz.
Miss Dixie and Little Rich Girl in a photo finish that goes to Miss Dixie, holding on by the narrowest of margins.
They're off in the Belmont Stakes.
Once American Pharoah settled into a rhythm following a first quarter mile in which jockey Victor Espinoza pushed him to the lead, horse racing's newest Triple Crown winner ran each subsequent quarter mile faster than the previous one. American Pharoah's getting stronger as the race got longer was similar to how Secretariat won the marathon mile-and-a-half Belmont during his 1973 Triple Crown run. The telling moment in the Belmont for both Secretariat and American Pharoah was similar too. Jockey Ron Turcotte on Secretariat takes a long look over the shoulder with the competition fading out of sight. And a similarly confident Victor Espinoza assesses the competition at the top of the stretch. With more left in the tank and realizing the others had hard at work, the race was over.
Furlong, Frosted, his second, with 1/8 of a mile to go. American Pharoah's got a 2-length lead. Frosted is all out at the 16th pole. And here it is. The 37-year wait is over. American Pharoah is finally the one. American Pharoah has won the Triple Crown.
However, waiting to play your cards isn't a luxury a jockey could afford in the Quarter Horse Championships that highlighted Arapahoe Park's live racing card on Belmont weekend. In a race where horses came from 7 different states, Washington-based B.H. Lisa's Boy won his 5th race in a row in the Adequan Arapahoe Derby Challenge. Gates open. The Adequan Arapahoe Derby Challenge is underway. Stormy red morning with a quick beginning from Lotta Dynasty. Just One Kiss has lost the jockey. Sweet Solid Rock trying to come through in the center. Lotta Dynasty grabs the lead. BH Lisa's Boy running a strong race down the outside. Here comes BH Lisa's Boy storming home. BH Lisa's Boy in a photo finish with Lotta Dynasty, and then came Rare Scheme. Looks like it might have been BH Lisa's Boy, and if it was, it's 5 wins in a row. BH Lisa's Boy, who is ridden by Francisco Giles for trainer Bill Hoberg, will now represent Arapahoe Park and Colorado, earning a berth with the victory to the American Quarter Horse Association Challenge Championships at Lone Star Park in Texas in November. Toshiyoshi, the top Colorado-bred 2-year-old quarter horse in 2014, with a win in the Cherry Creek Futurity, is off to a similarly impressive 3-year-old campaign this year. He lined up in the $50,000 Lucille Road Derby for Colorado breds, over 350 yards. Gates open. The Lucille Road Derby is underway. Good start for Now Margaret on the outside. Down along the inside comes Feel This Moment, Baby. Toshiyoshi starting to kick into gear. El Carboncito running a strong race. Toshiyoshi showing his class, taking the lead, and going on to win the Cherry Creek Futurity and Lucille Road Derby double for Toshiyoshi. 3 Olives and Smoke was the fastest qualifier for Sunday's Cherry Creek Futurity for 2-year-old Colorado-bred quarter horses. A race both his mother Smokin' Corona and sister Midorian Smoke had won before him. Gates open. The Cherry Creek Futurity is underway. 3 Olives and Smoke goes straight to the front. From That's a Fact Jack to the inside, and then a beautiful flame in between that pair. Glitters Enough for sure running a strong race down the outside. They're chasing 3 Olives and Smoke, though. His mother won it. His sister won it. Now he wins the Cherry Creek Futurity. 3 Olives and Smoke dominates over That's a Fact Jack, and then came Glitters Enough for sure. This Sunday, June 14th, former claimer Lady Gila will try to defend her title in the Molly Brown.
And the rags to riches story gets better and better for Lady Gila. The former claimer going on to win the Molly Brown Stakes easily under a hand ride from Michael Ziegler.
And Arabian star Miss Dixie goes for an unprecedented 4th straight win in the Cobra Distaff Sprint.
Miss Dixie stretching for the finish line. Little Rich Girl and Sand on Fire testing her, but Miss Dixie prevails for the 3rd year in a row in the Cobra Distaff Sprint.
Racing at Arapahoe Park on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with the first post at 1 p.m. Each week, Arapahoe Park in Cantor, Colorado, an organization that finds homes for horses after they finish their racing careers, profiles a horse in his new career. And in this segment Beyond the Finish Line today, I'm joined by Christy Radosevich with Run to the Border, who's had an amazing career racing and an amazing career after racing. Now, racing, he raced 6 years from 2002 until 2008. Tell us a little bit about his racing career.
Well, you know, Jonathan, he raced in Kentucky and Texas and Louisiana, and he also was out in California, and he raced 45 times and won over $250,000 or thereabouts. And I have a picture of him when he was on the racetrack from 2003, and he was trained by Paul Murphy most of the time, from the time he was about a yearling until he was 6. So he was very, very successful, and in fact, his niece is Rachel Alexandra. So with his breeding, he has some very successful relatives in the racing world, including his sire, who is El Prado, and his grandsire, who is Sadler's Wells.
So he had an amazing career. He goes until he's 9 years old, and you have another picture that shows us the contrast of what he started doing after you got Run to the Border in 2009. Right. What are we looking at, and how did you come to get Run to the Border?
Well, I came to get Border because I have a friend of mine who had thoroughbred racehorses, and she was following his career as a racehorse. And when he retired, she made sure that he went from California, where he retired, to Wyoming, where she was living, and then she didn't have time to ride him, so she sent him to me. And so then I started training him for eventing. and he converted to an event horse overnight. And so this photo shows us eventing. This was our first preliminary event in Utah, and this was about 2 years after I got him, so it would be about 2011.
And then how did he progress from when you got him until what he does now? And we're watching him from the Colorado's Most Wanted Thoroughbred competition in March, where he was a finalist at 16 years old, still doing amazing things.
He is. He's really amazing. Well, you know, he raced until he was 9, so that's a really long racing career in the first place. And then he came to me at 10 years old. He converted overnight to an event horse because he is very competitive and he loves to work. And so, you know, as soon as he figured out that we were jumping, he actually hunted the jumps. And so he really loved that aspect. He wasn't as keen on the dressage at first, but he has become very good at dressage. And, you know, eventing is dressage, cross-country jumping, and then show jumping. And so he has done very well converting to a new career. And then we did have 2.5 years off before we went to Colorado's Most Wanted Thoroughbred contest. And now he was 16, like you mentioned there, and still doing really well because he still loves to work. He's a typical thoroughbred that way.
I'll take the photos and I'm going to give you this, which is the passport.
Right.
What is the passport?
So when Border and I moved up the levels, we went from novice to training level to preliminary, and then we actually started competing at the 1-star level. And so when you compete at the FEI 1-star level, the horses have to have a passport, and this is granted through the international organization, the FEI. And so for Border, when we would go to the FEI events, I would need to give this to the veterinarians so that they could identify him. And so there are identifications in the passport for the horse, and also their bloodlines, and then we have to keep track of also all of their vaccinations that the veterinarians then look at to make sure that they meet the vaccination requirements for FEI events.
It is really amazing to see sort of the behind the scenes, not just of the racing side, but of the eventing side as well. How would you characterize the transformation from a racehorse to eventer? Is it easy? Are horses pretty smart and get it right away? How would you describe that? Because it is quite a different career.
It's a very different career. So some horses will take to eventing a little bit quicker than others. And Border, you can see here, he really loves jumping. And so, like I said, some horses will really key into the jumps and really enjoy it, and they'll just take you to the jumps. Other horses, maybe they're more tending towards dressage, and they love to do flat work. And other horses, you know, it just sort of depends on their personality. With Border, he's very versatile, so he liked all 3 phases, and in fact, we go out and do trail riding as well.
And I guess the bottom line is, Border's a great horse. He's done amazing things. Do you think I could ride Border?
You know what, I think you can, and I would love for you to come on a trail ride with us, because I think he understands different people, so he knows when I'm riding him, we might be going jumping. He would really love to take you out on a trail ride, so that would be fantastic.
And so that's amazing, the horses that you do see at Arapahoe Park, they can end up becoming quite amazing animals as well, accomplishing things beyond just the racing and just being good horses for people like me who announced to potentially ride. Thank you, Christy, for joining us, for introducing us to Run to the Border. Congratulations on all the past success with the horse and all the future success too.
Thank you, Jonathan.
And that's our show. Thank you for joining us. Christy Radosevich, Jonathan Horowitz. Until your next time out at the races, keep picking winners.